welcome to GBN Live. You are listening to us on your favorite social media channel, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter. And we are here on Wednesday morning with our first episode of GBN Live. Today's guest we have with us, Tamara Vandiver, who is with Movement Mortgage up in the Summerville area. And up in Myrtle Beach area, we have Josh Sullivan, who is a financial advisor and the founder of Business Connect. And today's show is sponsored by Grand Strand Law Group in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. And you can reach out to them by visiting them online at grandstrandlawgroup.com or by calling 843-492-5422. So let's get in today's episode, and we're going to start off with Tamara. There we go. Hi, Tamara, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. We were just talking that the rain has moved out of the Summerville area and it's definitely hitting the Myrtle Beach area. So that's going to be fun for us to deal with here in the next couple hours anyway. So you are with Movement Mortgage. So tell us a little bit about yourself and welcome to the show and where you're originally from, your family, that kind of stuff.
Well, where I'm originally from is Seattle, Washington. I'm a Navy brat, so I got to start there, but I only lived there for 18 months and then bounced all over the country. I ended up in Summerville, where I finished high school there. Then I joined the military myself. I've lived in South Carolina area 3 times, and this last time has been since 2001. So I've been here a hot minute. And I have 2 teenage daughters and a rescue beagle named Ellie McBeagle.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you've been here since 2001, so now you're more of a permanent resident, so you can't leave, right?
Right.
That's great. Well, look, as a mortgage lender, I want to dive right into this. As a mortgage lender and as a realtor myself, I know how important it is to speak to a lender before you go house shopping and stuff like that. Talk to us a little bit about that. And, you know, that since this is our first show, I should say that our goal here is to introduce you to members of GBN and let you kind of see an inside look to their business and how they operate. So going back to the question, why is it so important when you're looking to buy a house that you speak to that lender first?
Well, it's, time is precious and you don't want to waste a whole bunch of time from the realtor side or for the client side. So knowing what your buying power is in advance is hugely important. Sometimes your finances, credit score, or income aren't exactly what you think they are. And it's kind of a sour pill to swallow when you find out after you're all excited that it's, you're not quite there yet. So some people think that they qualify for $400,000 house and you're out shopping around and then they're heartbroken. So no one really wants to start this process heartbroken when I get a chance to look at the documentation and you really only qualify for 200. Now, consequently, there's the flip side to that, where you've had people that have been looking and spending time at $200,000 houses and they're elated when I get a chance to tell them, no, you can go look for a higher priced home and maybe the 400 range or 300 if it's more budget friendly, but you qualify for 4. So just knowing in advance where you really stand with the numbers and not hypotheticals is huge.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important that you say that because sometimes there's just a few things that you need to change in your credit or sell that ATV that you haven't used in 3 years anyway, but just changing a little bit on your credit to increase that score by even 5-10 points can qualify you for a higher price or at least a better interest rate so you can have a better payment as well.
That's correct.
Yeah. So when someone's going to look, the first thing they do when they call you, one of the things that that you're going to be collecting is their pay stubs, their W-2 forms, how long they've been on their job, those kind of things. Tell us a little bit more about that and what you're looking for specifically, because I think it's important that before you call that lender, you are already, because some of those things take a little while to get, but you're more prepared for when you speak to the lender.
Right. A lot of the things that you just mentioned are the big ticket items for us. The biggest pieces are assets and income, because that's what helps us know what kind of money we're able to lend you and whether it's $100,000 or $400,000. And sometimes it's that big of a swing. For instance, I have a self-employed person that I'm working with right now. And if I were to use 19 and 20 taxes and average it, he only qualifies for 150. But if I use 2020 by itself, or 2020 and 2021, it goes up to 325,000. So the documentation is huge. You're going to need 2 years W-2s, 2 years tax returns. If you're self-employed, those need to be business with all pages, all schedules, 60 days bank statements. Again, so we make sure that there's not a debt that's in your that's not on your credit report, but it's showing up in your bank. For something that's going out routinely. So we check those kinds of things. And then if you're keeping a house, then we're going to need all the information on the current house that you're keeping as well to make sure that you're not going to be cash poor.
Yeah. Something that I learned not too long ago is, and a lot of times when somebody is a self-employed person, they have their own business, maybe on their first year of taxes, they take a huge deduction for, instead of amortizing things out that are equipment purchases or something along those lines, they take that huge hit the first year so that they get more back. But that really hurts them if they're thinking about buying a house. So if you think you're going to be buying a house in the next 2 years, maybe 3, you know much better than I, but if they're thinking about doing that, they may want to think about maybe amortizing that out at least over the next couple of years, and then take a big hit after you get your house.
Right. And,
So,
and pay taxes now, and then, make an amendment later or something to that nature. But, even though you're legally allowed to write off a lot of the stuff that you do, that doesn't put you in the best situation for purchasing a house. And I literally had a guy that made $700,000, wanted a $400,000 house. Just knowing that off the top of your head, it's like, okay, well, obviously you're going to be qualified. Well, not obviously, because we looked at his documentation and he made negative 60,000. So there was a nice cardboard box we could get for him.
A cardboard box. I like that. So it is true, though, and I say this to all my clients, and I'm sure that you do as well. The sooner you can speak to that lender, the better you're able to set yourself up for being able to purchase or make that purchase, whether it's a house, an investment property, even a business, commercial property sometimes.
Absolutely. So, yes. Knowing the knowledge is really power. I'm sorry. I was like, knowledge is power. And absolutely. The thinking and the hypotheticals get people in trouble, whether it's one side or the other. Again, congratulations, you qualify for more than you thought. So it's like, rip the Band-Aid off. Let's see where you really, really are. And then let's go from there.
Yeah. And you don't always want to use your top dollar when you purchase either. If you qualify for $500,000, doesn't mean you have to buy a $500,000 house.
Right.
Because you don't want to set yourself up for failure down the road. So, but yeah. Before we keep moving forward, let me mention to you guys, now that you have joined us, if you are interested in asking Tamara or our other guest, Josh, questions today, just type them in the comments in your whatever channel you're watching on, and we will try to get those answered on air. Or you can call us at 843-602-9880, and we will get you live on the air so that you can do it as well. Tamara, we talked about those things that you need, the pay stubs and the W-2s and your bank statements and things like. Why are those so important? I know that is what you need to move forward, but let's talk specifically about why are those so important.
Well, you actually mentioned the word failure, and I like to try to set people up for success. And the way to set people up for success is by having the information in advance. And you hear the media kills me sometimes, because you hear you can get approved in 5 minutes, and I'm like, really? Can you? Let's do it.
HGTV ruins that too.
Right. And it just kind of makes me cringe a little bit, because I'm in the middle of 2 right now, rescue deals from other places that I won't name, that do the 5-minute pre-approvals, and they were 2 weeks before closing. and things blew up because things were not looked at in advance. And, setting up for success, you want to make sure you have all your documentation, that a qualified person has looked at them, somebody who, reads the guidelines and knows where things are. So you feel confident. And, if you get all the stuff done in advance, it's such a much more pleasurable experience going out and looking than worrying and wondering, what's going to happen later. It's like if we've looked at everything now, you feel much better. And also, I'm kind of like your attorney, where you tell me the good, the bad, the ugly, and I can help you figure it out. And because I had a client that was told to fabricate some things, and when he got his disclosures, that big woot woot woot, where it talked about mortgage fraud, FBI, $10,000 fine, he's like, so I think I need to talk to you. And I was like, I'm glad you are. And we were able to restructure and get him a house in the appropriate way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you brought up a good point there in that making sure everything, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. The one thing you don't want to do, and I know you tell your clients this, but the one thing you do not want to do is, once you start the mortgage process, do not go out and buy a new car. Do not go out and buy a new boat. Don't buy a new ATV. Don't go buy new furniture for the new house yet. Wait until you close, because that affects your credit score.
And don't quit your job, for the love of God.
And don't quit your job. Right. Yeah, you think that would be a no-brainer, but it has happened.
It has happened to me.
Yep, I'm sure it has. So, well, lastly, I want to talk about credit scores. And I know we kind of touched base on it a little bit, but 20 points, 10 points, sometimes even 2 points can make a huge difference on that. So, yes. So any advice for that, when people are thinking about their credit score?
The no-brainer stuff, always pay your bills on time. Don't skip anything. Those are the biggies. But as far as repair or improvement or any of that kind of stuff, I always sit with my clients and I do things for free as best as I can. I know a lot of ins and outs of the crazy credit bureau stuff, which I don't agree with the way they do business, but I help, navigate in and around those things. But one of the things that I also do is, if it's super complicated or it's beyond my area of expertise, I do stay in my lane. So I move them to a company that I work well with. It's a national company that specializes in helping people that are actually trying to buy a house, and not just specializes in credit repair. So they make sure that they don't put verbiage in your report that's going to mess me up later. Yeah, great, your credit's improved, but I still can't do it because of the words that they use. So I work with a company that is very mindful of that, and they're inexpensive, and they're great with communication and reporting, and that fits in well with the things that are important to me. One of the things I try to differentiate myself from other lenders is the communication, is the fact that I'm going to reach out and educate and inform and let you know what's going on. And once we're under contract, I give updates to both the realtors, the clients, the paralegal, my team, any closing transaction folks, any of those people, to keep everybody in the timeline and accountable and just moving along, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're left out or that you're not even a person.
100%. I contact my clients at least twice a week whenever we're under information. We do have a Facebook user that logged in and said, what great information. And you're absolutely right. It is. And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this kind of stuff. And quickly, one thing, Tamara, before we go, is I know that you specialize in working a lot with veterans, but yes, what other programs, including veteran programs, are out there that people may not know about? I mean, I know we can't get into a lot of details, right, but some that somebody may be able to say, hey, Tamara, you spoke about this particular program, and I want to learn more about it.
Well, I definitely do specialize in the VA area. I'm retired vet myself, so that's an area that's very. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Those folks are really underserved, and they're preyed upon, honestly. So there's people with companies that have that word in it that have been fined over $1 million for preying on them and for overcharging. So it's like they don't know what they don't know. So again, back to the education, I try to do that for those folks. And a part of the money that upon each closing actually goes back in Tri-County Veteran Support Network, which is a local nonprofit here, to try to help our community with different resources. Of course, I do all the normal, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, USDA products, but we also have a really amazing jumbo product where we get to underwrite them at house and we don't have to deal 100% with the investor, which is amazing. And because we have a little bit more control backbeat by being able to underwrite in house, we also, it has butted heads up against the conventional loan to sometimes be even better on the interest rate, which is shocking for a jumbo. But back to that. So everyone was all excited about the conventional loan limits being raised. But the other part that's cool about the VA loan is there is no limit. So you can go get a VA loan at a $2 million house with this much down. So that's pretty great. And the other one is we do have a broker suite of products. So if you don't fit into the nice little neat box, we have bank statement programs. And I know the account executive personally. I have a cell phone, so I'm able to get things resolved. We have investor cash flow, so I don't even have to look at your income as long as the property is going to appraise at or above where you would be having your mortgage. So if you're going to rent it for $1,200 and the mortgage is really only $1,000, you got a loan as long as you got some money in the bank and for the reserves. So there's all kinds. Just because you don't fit into the little box doesn't mean that there's not something for you. So I'm known for thinking outside of the box, and I can help you get to where you got to be. A couple days out of bankruptcy and those kinds of things, and then we can refinance you later into a regular loan. But this way you can at least get your house. Sure.
Well, Tamara, thanks so much for joining us. If you guys want to reach out to her and you're interested in purchasing and want to start the mortgage loan process, give her a call at 843-412-2577. She is in the Summerville area, but she can help you pretty much anywhere in the state of South Carolina, and probably even outside of South Carolina, I'm sure. So, but Tamara, thanks so much for joining us. And guys, stick around after the commercial break. We're going to have Josh Sullivan here, financial advisor and the founder of the Business Connect. Thanks so much, Tamara. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Jess the San. I've been a canine liaison at Grand Strand Law Group for, 30 years? What's that? You don't believe me? I meant 30 dog years, of course. First rule of lawyering, read the fine print. Anywho, my humans at Grand Strand Law Group have a combined 20 years experience. I know, not as much as me, but that's in people years. So yeah, still pretty impressive. Real estate, estate planning, or probate, you need GSLG.
Grand Strand Law Group. Trust us, we have a dog.
Great Business Networking grew out of the idea that by creating lasting friendships within the community, we can make the community even better.
I was looking to network with professionals and to be able to refer my clients to somebody that I trust.
Well, it's really important to trust the members of the group because we really generate quality referrals, and to know somebody, be friends with them, and get that qualified referral is the key to success.
It is networking, but it doesn't feel like networking, and that is important to me. I come to the meetings, I have fun, I make great connections, and I help grow my business.
GBN, these are some of the best professionals in the market, and having that resource available to me, that's priceless.
Well, GBN is a network of business professionals that build long-lasting friendships that will not only grow my business, will grow yours as well. That's what referral marketing is all about.
GBN really is the most important marketing for your business. Check us out today. And welcome back to GBN Live. I'm Todd Cartner, your host, and we have Josh Sullivan here, the one and only from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the financial advisor and the founder of the Business Connect. We're going to talk to him here in just a moment. But if you have any questions for Josh or us here at GBN, you can just type them in your comments on social media, or you can call us at 843-602-9880. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, Todd, how are you today?
I'm good. How you been?
Fantastic, fantastic.
It's raining a little bit today, though. I see that.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, that's right. So, Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're with the Carolina Forest chapter here in the Myrtle Beach market. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from, your family, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Eastern North Carolina, a town called Clayton, North Carolina, just outside of Raleigh. Moved here when I was 21, so I've been here since 2009. I got a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old. They're actively involved in sports and the outdoors, and we try to keep as busy as possible. I'm a financial advisor, investment advisor. But been passionate about spreading the education factor of finance since I was 25, so about 2014, I believe I was. And really, what sparked it was my son River being born, or he was on the way, and that's when I started really diving deep. And now I'm just passionate about sharing that and growing, the education and financial literacy of the people around me.
Yeah. And that's so important. And one of the things that I hear a lot, and I'm not a financial advisor or an investment advisor by any means, but one thing that I hear a lot is the relationships that you have to have with because the people are entrusting you with their finances, whether they're actually giving you money to invest or they're talking to you about what to invest in. Either way, they have to trust you. So what do you like to do to build those relationships with your clients?
Yeah, everything comes down to trust. That's kind of where the business connect came from, and just the way that I do business in general kind of comes from that aspect that I know that trust comes first. So my approach is always help the client first with anything. I've always been that way. It's kind of a fault of mine. I don't really ask for help very often, but I'm always willing to give help. So whenever I meet with a business owner or a business professional, I'm always asking them, what can I do for you to get you to your goals, whether it's financial or not? I'm always offering that help. I want to be that person, that resource that people reach out to first, because I know that trust is the most important thing. Most people, I know them for a year or so before they ever even bring up a financial conversation.
Yeah. Well, I know that you and I both have said this multiple times. I've heard it from both of our mouths. You have to know, like, and trust somebody. So you're exactly right. That's exactly where that trust falls in. So if I were to come to you looking for financial or investment advice, what do you need from me? What do I need to get together that is kind of what you need to evaluate my financial position, if that makes sense? I hope it does.
Right. Statements are always great because that's going to give us exact details. So statements of, your 401k if you have one, or any kind of retirement account, any kind of insurance that you have, life insurance or disability insurance, any kind like that. Um, but we're going to find out all of that through just the process of talking and getting to know each other, and really that's where it comes down to, liking, trusting each other, like you said, is that conversation that you're able to have, learn about each other, learn about the financial situation and the financial goals, because it's not a one size fits all type of deal. Some people are going to be more worried about retirement. Some people are going to be more worried about taking care of their kids. And so that's what it is. There's no one size fits all approach to the financial world. And that's my biggest thing, is that everything is customized and individual.
Right. Yeah. There's so many different ways that you can go with investment and financial advising. Is there a type of client that you are not, maybe not the client is the word, is there a type of investment or financial direction that you prefer to go in, something that you specialize in for your clients?
So I look at myself as more of a translator and facilitator. My job is to take the client, because every client thinks of the markets differently. They think of investments differently. What one person may think of as an investment, someone else may think of as savings. So
Mhm.
it differs per person. And my job is to take what they say, take what they feel, translate the market for them so they can understand the opportunities that are available to them, how they can use the different products that are out there, and then facilitate them actually doing what they need. So that can be families, young families, business professionals, business owners, anything like that. And I'm very passionate about retirement planning and planning for the next generation. So planning for children, whether that's college funds or private school funds or whatever that may be.
And that is a whole different it's a different way that some people look at it, because some people think I have to have thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to invest in stocks or retirement planning or whatever. And sometimes it can be as simple as $25 a month if you are starting with your 10-year-old or something to help them toward college or whatever. It doesn't have to be a ton of money, right?
Absolutely. You can do, something small for a kid when they're first born, when they first get, when they're coming, like I did. That's where I kind of jumped into the financial world. I knew my son was on the way, and I was like, man, I don't want him to be stuck out in the cold and nobody helping him, or just my father-in-law helping him, or my father or my family. I wanted to be involved. And that's where I really started to dive deep and learn the way that I learned. And I was like, oh my gosh, nobody knows these things. Nobody teaches you these things, because there's this stigma around financial advisors or investment advisors that you've got to be rich to be able to talk to them. Only somebody that makes $100,000 a year needs to talk to an advisor. And that's not how it is. That's not the truth. You need that trusted advisor to be able to help you and take you, to the next level and help you reach your goals, whether those be small goals, big goals, because goals are relative to the person.
Right. It's kind of like what Tamara said in the first segment of the show, is peeling back those layers of the onions, and really sometimes it's not as bad as you think it's going to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to investment, do you have a philosophy that you kind of live by? Is there a I don't want to say mission statement, but is there kind of like a, this is your guts that you want people to know about how you look at investing?
For me, there is no blanket advice. Nothing works for everybody. My pet peeve is blanket advice. If you Google something, it's not going to say, here is how Todd retires. It's not going to give you specific advice for yourself. It's going to be blanket advice. If you read a book, that book is making that person rich, not, it's not going to tell you the roadmap to get where you need to go. So for me, my investment philosophy is what fits you, what works best for you to get you to your specific goals, and tailoring that to your specific goals, the way that you feel, and just, because risk profiles are different. Some people think of being aggressive as being 100% stock. Some people think of as aggressive as being day trading. So it just tailors to individuals, their portfolio, their risk tolerance, and their goals.
Yeah, it's just like a realtor, a financial advisor, investment advisor, a mortgage lender. You got to start the conversation. And we have somebody on Facebook that made a comment that says, great advice, Josh. That's awesome there as well. And let me remind you guys, if you have any other questions for Josh, get them in here quickly. And you can just type those in your comments and we'll get them up live, or you can call us at 843-602-9880. Finally, Josh, tell me about this adventure that you've got going on called the Business Connect. Explain that a little bit to us. I know that you founded that, and what have you been up for? Maybe 3 months, I'm guessing, somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe I'm a little bit shorter off there, but tell us about the Business Connect, and so we can learn a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So the Business Connect is just my personal brand and my personal mission to support the local community, support business owners, and really just expose businesses from the side of the owner. I feel like we all see commercials, or we see businesses standing on the side of the road, whatever, the signs on the side of the road, but really talking to the owners of the business and having them share their story, their thoughts, because you can connect with a person, you can't connect with a sign. So the Business Connect is just my brand of, supporting local businesses, supporting, growing the community, and just connecting those people together. I want people to feel like they can come to me, whether it's financial or not, and ask me a question and say, Josh, I need such and such, or do you know anybody that does such and such? They can come to me and I can give them the trusted advice, and they know that I'm not going to steer them wrong, because the only people that I associate with on the Business Connect are the people that want to share their stories, that want to help other businesses, that want to be involved in the community. It's really about the people that are doing it the right way. And so when people come to me, they know that if I give them a referral to another business, that it is something that is solid, and it's somebody that has the same views and values. And you weren't far off. It's been, I've been doing it for, 3 or 4 months now. I don't know the exact date. I don't, worry about that too much. But it's also a podcast. I have a podcast with it, Facebook page. And really, it's, again, just about supporting local businesses. The podcast comes out every Friday. It's on all major podcasts except for Apple currently. But, Amazon, Audible, Google, anything, Spotify, and then the video version comes out on YouTube. So that comes out every Friday.
They can just search the Business Connect, right?
Right. On Facebook, it's Josh the Business Connect. Just makes it simpler to find, because there's another one in New Zealand or something. But
they're always one in New Zealand, right?
You're right. So Josh the Business Connect is the easiest way to find it on Facebook.
All right.
And the Business Connect podcast anywhere else.
There you go. Also, if you want to get in touch with Josh, you can call him direct at 919-201-3471. That's 919-201-3471. Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you coming on, and we wish you the best in your business. And if somebody's interested in joining the podcast on the Business Connect, it's just like here at GBN Live. Reach out to us, because we'd love to get you on the air, and we'll see you soon.
Great. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good day. Guys, next week, I'm proud to have with us, we have Tom Moore, who is with the West Ashley chapter he's with the Goose Creek chapter down in Goose Creek. He is with Edgewater Sports Marketing. And then we also have Tom Winslow with the Winslow Law Firm that'll be here next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And we will see you then. And until next time, if it's Wednesday, it's GBN Live.